Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store, and you know what time of year it is? It's back to school time, and time once again for all of those after-school activities. Whether it's ballet or football, drama or field hockey, band or basketball, kids' feet need to feel good. Those cleats, sneakers, or shoes for band often don't do those young feet any favors. If our kids are going to stay active and healthy, then they need good feet. That means it's also time to take your kids to the Good Feet Store. Yeah, that's right, the young ones, the kids. Bring them into the Good Feet Store and let's treat them to some personal service. Our team members will measure their feet and find the right arch support for them. They can still wear the shoes they want, but they will have the support to make them comfortable now and keep their feet healthy for the future. It won't take long, and it could change their life. Go to goodfeet.com to make an appointment or just stop by the location nearest you. The Good Feet Store.
And welcome back to Success Made to Last. I'm Rick Tokeny. This is our Living Seasonally, the Digital Nomad Show. And we are so glad to have on our program today Steve King. He is a partner with Emergent Research in Lafayette, California. Often quoted this week in the Wall Street Journal, this month in the Harvard Business Review. And Steve, it is an honor to have you on our show. Welcome, sir.
Rick, thanks for having us.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from originally, and how did you get into Emergent Research?
Well, I'm originally from a small town in Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas, but I've not lived there for a long time. And I started my career in consulting and then went into the tech industry, worked for several tech firms. I ran international operations of one and was the chief marketing officer of another one, and then decided to go out on my own and started Emergent Research about almost exactly 20 years ago, along with my wife, who's also my business partner. And we've been since then basically consulting on the future of work, broadly defined, for the last 20 years. And we got very interested in digital nomads around 2013. And our primary interest back then was digital nomads are really remote workers on steroids. Mm. And one of the things when you're studying the future and helping companies understand the future in a corporate planning or marketing situation, one of the things you do is you look for edge communities that are doing unusual behaviors or leading behaviors, and you study them to see which things will likely move to the mainstream. And digital nomads, they've been a great group for us to study, and we started doing our surveys with them about 3 years ago.
Beautiful. We're talking to the right person, folks, because we have been digital nomads since 2009, and I'm glad that you call us the Edge community. What happened in the last year and a half that exploded our community and liberated them through this COVID-19?
You know, it was really interesting when COVID first started, we thought to ourselves, oh, goodness, with borders shutting down, digital nomads will have no place to go. And we totally, for the first few weeks, didn't understand that, no, there would suddenly be a whole bunch of new digital nomads, corporate employees, people that work for companies, traditional employees that got unleashed from their desktops. And yes, they couldn't. The traditional places, Bali and Chiang Mai and Berlin, Split and others, were not open to them, but they could easily start going to places across the U.S. And so we actually saw during the pandemic a strong surge in the number of digital nomads as people basically took to the road primarily. But in other cases also flew and took other modes of transportation. But we're rotating from place to place, but mostly staying domestic. The international aspect of it amongst Americans did fall. Even if you look at European digital nomads, they were mostly staying in their home country or near their home country. But the total number of digital nomads actually increased 49% over 2019 and 2020. And in particular, the number of digital nomads who are traditional employees almost doubled. It increased roughly 93%. So we saw a huge uptick in the number of digital nomads.
And are you a digital nomad?
No, I'm not. I've been one in the past, but no, I'm happily working from home. We do travel a lot, but our definition of a digital nomad is someone who who's out of their primary residence in at least 3 different locations for at least 6 months in total over a 1-year period. And so I do not qualify as a digital nomad. I qualify as a remote worker.
There you go. Okay. So, to that end, you have written, this article in Harvard Business Review, Your Company Needs a Digital Nomad Policy. And I was relating to you over the phone that, pre-show, that I have a friend at a senior vice president level organization who has decided, I'm not going back to work. I am leaving this position that I earned over the course of the last decade, but I am not going to burn 2.5 hours of my day commuting when I was perfectly productive at home. And, it is now in the face of companies to make a big decision. What do you want to say today from your article that encourages and urges and motivates companies to get with it to create a digital nomad policy?
Yeah, there are really 2 things. There's kind of a carrot and a stick for companies. And let me start with the stick. One is, if you don't create programs and policies, you do not know where your digital nomads are. And because of that, there's actually a lot of legal risk for corporations. You can end up violating local employment laws. You can have the company have local governments, whether it's a state level or a country level, decide that they're actually active in their country, which triggers a whole nother set of laws. And so it's in their best interest at a legal level and a legal protection level to put these programs in place so that they understand where their digital nomads are, where they're traveling to, and that they have policies and protections to protect against triggering some of these problems. Because almost all employment laws around the world, and certainly it's true in every state in America, are based on where the worker is, not where the company is located. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is there's a stick here, which says that if you don't have policies and programs, you're taking a legal liability. But to us, more important is the carrot, which is digital nomads are on average highly educated, highly skilled, and by necessity fluent with technology. And so they're working and because of that, they're working in fields like IT, marketing, public relations, product development, innovation, systems, and so forth. And so guess what? Those are all skills that are in demand, hard to hire, war for talent skill levels. And so if you have digital nomad programs and you include digital nomads in your planning and in your workforce, you then have access to that highly skilled, hard to hire talent. That's when you're looking externally for talent. And then, of course, internally, you have existing employees who have those skills and talents, but they want some more freedom. They want to be able to go on the road. They want to be able to travel. And I'm not saying all of them do, but you have a subset that do. And again, if you actually look at who becomes digital nomads, they tend to be people on average that are in these high skilled positions. So if you want to attract, retain, and engage in skilled professionals in a lot of important roles, you should have a digital nomad program that makes your company attractive to them.
There you go. It can actually become a recruiting advantage and benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think, based on your most recent research, that the digital nomad lifestyle can be for everyone, or is it for very specific kinds of people, not occupations, but kinds of people?
It can be for everyone, and certainly in our research, we run into all kinds of people. And one of the things that was interesting when we first started studying it is our initial reaction was it would primarily, almost exclusively, be young people in their 20s. It would probably be mostly tech people for the reasons I just discussed. But as we dug into the numbers and did more surveys and research, all ages participate. It does skew younger, it does skew male, but almost over a third of digital nomads are female. Over a quarter of them are above the age of 50. And of course, retirement has something to do with that, and the freedom and flexibility that comes with being semi-retired and traveling. And so from a demographic standpoint, it's all age groups. It's male, female. It's also ethnically and racially diverse, but does skew a little bit towards Caucasians. So in that sense, it's for everybody. And then the type of work we call them digital nomads when we talk about them being online, but there's a subset that also are traveling and pick up jobs from place to place. Mm-hmm. And there's a group called work campers. I don't know if that is the name that Amazon actually gives to the people that come. And there's a publication called Work Camper News. Those are mostly older people in RVs, traveling around the United States full time, and they stop and they get jobs in national parks, they get jobs at Amazon warehouses, they get jobs with local companies. So it really can be for everybody. Now, second part of that is not everybody is going to be willing to do this for long periods of time. We find most digital nomads are time limited from somewhere between 6 months and 2 to 3 years before they decide it's time to settle down, mostly in one place. They may go out again, but in terms of the long-term digital nomads that have been doing it for more than 5 years and continuously traveling without really a primary residence, that's a relatively small number of people.
Why do you think that brands are not speaking to us digital nomads?
Primarily because they don't know you're there. That is shifting a little bit now, and I think the one area, certainly the RV manufacturers have discovered digital nomadism and are design, and the car manufacturers, and have been designing, interestingly enough, smaller machines and motorhomes for specifically targeting that group. They've caught on to what the van life trend. Mm-hmm. And so that industry's figured it out. The travel industry has started to figure out. There's a publication called Skift that's like the main publication for business, the business side of one of the main publications for the business side of the travel industry. And they've had multiple articles and just released their own research report on digital nomads and how to attract them to your properties or have them fly with you. And so the travel industry is waking up to it. You see some hotel chains. Selena is a hotel chain that caters to digital nomads. You can buy a subscription to their company and then stay at whatever hotel you run into around the world. They have many, they're mostly in Latin America and Europe, but they have a few in the US. So the travel industry is waking up to it. The technology industry is starting to wake up to it and come up with some specialized products. So it is happening. It is happening.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see digital nomads lifestyle going in the next 10 to 20 years in terms of total number of count from 10.9 million to where will it go?
Yeah, we have it, and those are U.S. digital nomads, the 10.9 million. It'll be interesting to see. We're actually fielding another survey right now where we're going to count them again. We're actually expecting it'll stay similar because they jumped up so much last year to grow a little bit this year. But the long-term trend is clearly up. The desire to travel is very powerful. It's always been very powerful. We always try to highlight that Marco Polo started this trend, but it's just innate in human beings to travel. And one of the things that's kept that from happening is the lack of remote work policies by major corporations and employers in general.
Yep.
And what the pandemic has done, we've had just this massive acceleration in the ability to work remotely. And even in companies, there are a number of companies now. I noticed a British company by the name of Revolt just came out with a policy that said you can be a digital nomad for 3 months out of the year, and the rest of the year we want you here 2 to 3 days a week. And a number of the tech companies have already announced that a fair percentage of their workers will be able to be as remote as much as they want. That's also rippling through other industries. So we anticipate the remote work shift again will just allow many more people to become digital nomads. And we saw this up until the pandemic. Of course, there were more independent workers, freelancers, self-employed consultants, independent contractors. They were the majority of digital nomads, and that shifted last year. And traditional employees became the majority of them. And it's just this shift to remote work. And so we just think it'll get stronger and stronger.
Mm. So when you look at the percentages that your report stated in the Wall Street Journal, and it said that 17% were baby boomers and 22% were Gen Xers, would you then say that that's 39% clearly over 50 years of age or thereabouts?
Yeah, I think I said 25% earlier. I'll have to go back and double check my numbers, but the numbers in the journal I've double checked. Yeah, so it's a sizable percentage are older Americans.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it about 20, but I can double check that. But regardless of which one it is, it's a sizable percentage. That group will also continue to grow. And one of the reasons it will grow is older Americans have the highest percentage in terms of their workforce participation at being self-employed. And so, and they also tend to stress wanting flexibility and the ability to travel as part of their work if they have traditional employment. And we're working later into life, but also more and more aging baby boomers need to work to supplement their retirement income. And so that is a prime group that will continue to grow rapidly in terms of their numbers, and will increase their share, we believe, in our digital nomad numbers.
You bet.
One other piece of that will be that the next generation coming up, a smaller generation. So the math works in their favor, but also just the trends work in that favor. More and more baby boomers will choose to travel and work at the same time, whereas historically they've been traveling, but they haven't been working as much, and so they don't show up in our numbers.
Sure. So I'm going to turn the tables now and let you ask me some questions, since we have been digital nomads in 20 countries, 21 counting the United States. What would you like to know from us, having done this since 2009?
Well, you're a long-termer then. Have you been consistently traveling over that period?
Yes.
Oh, you're a long-term digital nomad. So my first question is always, what do you miss most by not having a regular residence?
That's a great question. I would say it is the community of people, and to some extent it's the language barrier, and it takes a long time to make good friends in these nomadic communities.
Mm-hmm. And in your travels, since you're so experienced at it, have you been staying longer in specific places, shorter? Has there been a change in your length of stay pattern from when you started as a digital nomad to where you are today?
It has become shorter, and now we will spend 3 weeks in one city and then go out from there. So we will, instead of going to Florence, Italy for 3 months, we'll go there for 3 weeks and spend time in that region, and then move to southern France and do the same thing, or to Barcelona and go out from there. So it's become shorter.
Become shorter, but you base in an area and then cover the broader area from that base. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Interesting.
Faster, deeper. How about that?
Faster, deeper. I like that. Good description. And what are your biggest challenges?
The biggest challenge is missing family now and grandchildren, and then also trying to some extent, balance business with pleasure. And so the older that we get, there is this, I would call it, I don't want any of my clients to hear this, but this declining intensity of my crises is no longer your crises. How about that?
Yep. Oh, I get the declining part of it. Trust me, I understand that. I'm struggling mightily today to solve a problem that I don't care about. That's frankly not important for the client.
There you go. That's Steve. That's Steve King saying that on representing my company.
And what's your primary business then?
Publishing and podcasting.
Okay.
And we publish in Shenzhen, China, so they're on a different time zone anyway. And so in podcasting, we can do anywhere. It's just a function of good internet service. Right.
I actually made my first trip to Shenzhen in 1989.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I was living in Hong Kong at the time, and it had 40,000 people in it.
Not anymore.
I know. Isn't it an amazing city? One of the most, everybody should go there once. It's one of the most interesting cities in the world. You're lucky to be publishing out there. And are your travels,
listen,
do you have...
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, on your travels, do you have cities that you favor, regions that you favor, developed, undeveloped world, developing world? Do you have, in your travels, do you favor any of those, or are you traveling everywhere?
We definitely have favorite areas, and what we were striving to do now is to mix in some mission work and favorite third world country. Please don't take offense to this, our friends in Cuba, but it's definitely Cuba. And then emerging countries are becoming more of our favorites, like Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
And but there's some standard areas that we go to. Aforementioned were Florence and Barcelona.
Okay.
And as our places. Edward Jones financial advisor would say, "Are you happy there, Rick?" So we found that being a digital nomad is a way to optimize our own personal happiness.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And are your plans to continue?
They are. We're trying to do more things stateside. So tomorrow we're moving to Alaska.
Oh, nice.
So This is our last broadcast before Alaska. And I just thought that you would, and you've proven yourself as advertised, you're a good person along with your wife for dispelling some of the rumors about digital nomads. So thank you for defining them and for putting us on the map, because we think that with almost 11 million of us per your research, that we are a market to be reckoned with.
Yes, and as I said, brands are recognizing it. The numbers will continue to grow, which means more brands will recognize it. And hopefully our numbers help with that and letting the world know that you're out there. And my last comment on that with the brands is you're out there, and on average, digital nomads have a pretty decent level of disposable income. So they are an attractive target market for a lot of different product and service categories.
Steve King said that. I didn't. So I appreciate that, Steve. Steve, we want to have you back on again. Keep us updated on the latest trends and statistics. And I want to thank you and your wife for what you're doing. In case no one else thanks you today, we think you're making a difference. And when you go out and travel, we wish you safe travels, and hopefully you'll emerge or migrate to becoming that nomadic digital worker yourself.
All right. Thank you very much for having me today. This has been fun.
You bet. And listen, also just as a reciprocation, feel free to call on us for any further insight from our community, and we would always be glad to share any information with you, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
You bet. That was Steve King. We appreciate him being on today. He is the co-founder of Emergent Research and a great firm, and we appreciate him being on our program today. Hey, as we always say, may you continue to travel and be transformed by the experience. Happy trails. So thanks to our sponsor, Edward Jones. They are our trusted financial advisor. And Edward Jones has been instrumental in helping us pivot our lives built around health, happiness, travel, and adding value to other people's lives. You can contact our advisor, Serban Maracini, by emailing him at serban.maracine@edwardjones.com. And thanks again to their sponsorship of this program.
Hey, Jen, we need to sell our home. Do you know a great agent?
I do. We just sold with a local Redfin agent. It was awesome. And we paid a 1% listing fee because we bought our new home with Redfin, too.
Wow, 1%. Are Redfin agents full service?
Totally. Our Redfin agent did it all, and we sold for thousands more than the home next door.
I'll check out Redfin today.
1% listing fee when purchasing with Redfin, subject to minimums, terms, and conditions. Does not include buyer's agent commission. Learn more at redfin.com or call 844-759-7732.